It's time for Money for Lunch, where we feed your brain and your business with supersized portions of business and financial news. Now your host, Bert Martinez.
Hey guys, we are back. My next guest, John Bretthauer. John Bretthauer is best-selling author of The Ultimate Home Buyer's Guide. The nation's leading expert advisor revealed their secrets for buying in any home or in buying in any market. 6 separate Amazon.com bestsellers list. He has been featured guest in the America's Premier Experts in Washington, D.C. by 3-time Emmy Award-winning director and producer Nick Nanton. Has been seen on television's ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox News. Appeared on various radio stations in major markets, was a speaker at the RE/MAX International Convention, was filmed by Realtor.com for a series of video shorts. His clients are primarily the employees and management of Google, Apple, Symantec, and other Silicon Valley giants. Team leader at RE/MAX, GoJohnnyB.com. Isn't that a song? You know, Johnny Be Good. John Bretthauer, welcome to Money for Lunch.
Thank you very much, Bert. It's a pleasure to be on.
All right. So you know, here's what we're going to be talking about. I mean, and I love this. I mean, so guys, if you've ever wondered how the average person can compound his net worth 36 times, you're going to want to listen to John B. here. So walk me through this. I mean, let's start with, how did you compound your net worth 36 times, and what kind of time frame are we talking about?
Well, where this comes from is there was a Federal Reserve study done last year, and they looked at what happened to the net worth of the average renter, and it was just over $5,000. And they looked at what the average net worth of a homeowner was, and this is nationwide. It was nearly $200,000, and obviously that's a 36-fold difference. And this is a minor shift in just paying for a home mortgage instead of paying rent. And over your time, you're going to pay a lot less for the home than rent. So it's not even counting all the money that you save in housing costs. This is just the net worth buildup with some with some financial responsibility. You could save that, invest the difference, and you could have a massive shift.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing. And you know, there's what do you call it? There is a shift, right? When you buy a house, it says a couple of things. You know, you're putting down roots. I mean, there is a time when renting is good, and there's a time when you should buy. And it's interesting because every time I've rented a house, you know, while I'm looking for my permanent home or whatever, you know, you always have this feeling of this is temporary. And then when you buy your house,
exactly this. Yes.
You know, you're putting down roots.
Right. So when does renting make sense? Because it does make sense. You know, if you're new to an area and you haven't got your, you know, grounding on what areas, or you need to do market research, you're saving your down payment, you're new to the country, you don't have the job experience to qualify for the loan, totally makes sense. But recognize that rent is a complete cost. There's no benefit, there's no tax advantages, there's no equity buildup. There's, you know, it has serious shortcomings. And I've had some very brilliant people tell me that they went out and they got a spreadsheet together, and they proved to themselves that it was cheaper to rent. Well, it's specific times that could be, but that's very myopic, and it's also probably ignoring all sorts of leverage involved in a long-term asset. You know, you've got a tremendous time value on your side in equity buildup, tax savings, et cetera.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think that, there may be sometimes when it's cheaper, but that's just for a very small amount of time. I mean, to me, the only time that you ever want to rent a property is, again, it's a temporary situation, just like the examples you gave. You know, you rent a house while your new house is being built, or while you're shopping for a new house, or whatever. There's a lot of reasons to rent. But certainly, it's not a long-term solution. Throwing money away, it seems like doesn't seem like a good way to spend your money.
It's just such an eye-opener, Bert, because we all look and read and study and search for that golden nugget that's going to help us become wealthy. And how many times does that not turn out to be the way you wanted it?
Right.
It's Quite
you can almost guarantee it's 90% of the time it's not going to be the way you wanted it.
Yeah, and this is a situation where hundreds of millions of people, through dumb luck, I will say, most of them mindlessly just choose to buy a home for whatever reasons, but they really don't realize how big of an impact if they were to continue on the rental process, they would throw 97% of their net worth away.
That's incredible.
It's incredible.
All right, so let me ask
the reason I wanted to bring this out.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great reason. I think that's a fantastic thing. So let me do this. We had Donald Trump on the show a while back. This is middle of last year. I want you to listen to what he says. He's a really good
speaker. I've seen him live. He's a very good speaker.
Oh, he is definitely a dynamic speaker. So check out what he says, and then I want your feedback.
Well, the good news is there's no money around, so you're not going to have a lot of overbuilding like you do in the housing industry. You know, they overbuilt 2 years ago, and now they're sort of getting rid, and you can make lots of good deals. If you have money today, you can make lots of good deals. The fact is, this is a great time to go buy a house. Maybe even wait 3 or 4 more months, but you can make some. Okay, so like I said, this interview took place middle of last year, I think. So what do you think? Is now still a good time to buy real estate? Should we be waiting? You know, what's your take on it?
Okay, this is a really good question. It's kind of pregnant because the mistake that people make is they tune into the national news and they start hearing about the housing market and they start making decisions as if it matters. It really has no relevance to where you live. Your area could be 10, 20 miles away from a booming area, and your area could be crashing. The things that cause areas to grow is the demand for the housing. So if you wrap your head around this, supply and demand is going to determine the value of any component. So you could Google the price of an ice cream cone. You could get it down to the dollar, to the cent. But if you go to a park and you raise up an ice cream cone and it's 105 degrees outside, you're going to get an insane price for that ice cream cone. The same is true in housing. So what I look at here in the Bay Area, and I almost hesitate to say this on the air because this has been my private sauce that I've been sharing with the executives as I help them buy homes here in the Bay Area. But we have a massive footprint. Google, Apple, LinkedIn, they're all expanding. They're adding tons of square footage in office space. And this is foretelling a growth in employees. These are high-income earners. And so the areas within a comfortable commute are obviously going to advance in price because everybody that's well-paid wants to live as close as possible to work. And so this is a no-brainer. I did this in Austin, Texas years ago. Oil prices went from $50 a barrel to $10 a barrel. When they were at 50, the people that had very low skills got very high-paying jobs because they wanted them in the oil fields. Once the oil prices crashed, they lost the jobs, but they had no marketable skills to replace that income. So the housing that they bought, it went into foreclosure. So when this got at its worth, at its very worst, I flew in to buy as many homes as I could. So first thing I did is talk to agents, and I told them what I wanted, and we just couldn't seem to meet eye to eye. And this was pre-internet, so I rented a car, and I drove the city in a grid. And I noticed that on one side of the city, there was huge office developments. Dell Computer just put in a multi-million-square-foot facility. Abbott Labs the same way. And the other 3 sides of town were decaying. No new developments. So obviously, I wanted to buy as close as possible to these new huge employers. If they hired employees, they would rent from me.
Sure.
So years later, I sold those homes at a huge profit. And when you look backwards, and you see what happened in the landscape, the areas that did not have the robust jobs, they did not appreciate anywhere near what they did in North Austin. So what I did is I bought Cedar Park, Round Rock, Pflugerville, and North Austin. So the same thing can be done anywhere. You got to look at where the job growth is coming in. You want high-paying jobs. And if you don't see that, then you have a different kind of scenario. In the Bay Area, we have population growth because California is a destination. But these high-tech industries are also bringing in tens of thousands of immigrants. And the reason is we need those genius H-1B geniuses in here to fuel those jobs. And that turns into high income and high demand for high-level prices for homes. So it's a no-brainer. So my long answer is it depends, or the short answer, and it's very tough to say, is this a good time to buy nationally? Well, you know, there are some global forces. I mean, you've got low interest rates are historically very low. In my lifetime, until the last 2-3 years, you've never seen interest rates this low. And if you have the 1% shift in interest rates, that's almost 10% of purchasing power that can disappear in a matter of 3 days.
What is the current interest rate?
The last I saw was 4.2 for a 30-year fix.
That's crazy, isn't it? That's like free money.
Yeah, it sure is. And as we go forward, we're expecting higher interest rates, and all the major bodies that predict interest rates are saying we're going to have higher interest rates. So, yeah, I believe this is a great time to buy because you get low interest rates. I can't say nationally because you have to look at the local job market. You have to look at, is the population of the people who can afford homes growing or shrinking in your area? If it's shrinking, then it's probably not a good time to buy. You're probably going to see things fall. The other thing you look at is that even in a healthy area, there's going to be peaks and troughs. And so as you come up to a peak, what you're going to see is an expansion in the number of listings, the days on market increases. The prices don't turn yet, but they turn 2-3 months later typically as there's a softening. So you can see those internal forces. In the Bay Area, those forces are extremely tight. Things are selling in a week to 10 days. There's very, very little inventory. It's very tough to find a home. And so the buyers are finding themselves bidding against 4 and 5 other buyers for the same property very often.
Yeah. All right, listen, hey, we're out of time. I would love to bring you back and talk more about real estate. John Bretthauer, I want to say thank you so much for stopping by. Guys, if you have questions, you want to check out what John's all about, check out GoJohnnyB.com. GoJohnnyB.com. You bet. Johnny, thanks so much for stopping by. Guys, that wraps it up. Great show. And I love what John Bretthauer is talking about. Great strategy. If you're an investor, follow the money. Where are the jobs at? Might be a great time for you to get involved. I think that now is a great time to get involved. If you're going to buy a personal house, man, real estate is cheap. I mean, you should say money is cheap. Get in. It doesn't matter if all of a sudden the market turns because it's your house and you're going to stay in it for probably the next, 7 to 10 years. Remember, I want to, as always, I want to say just thank you from the bottom of my heart. We appreciate it. And remember, you were created to
Tune in Monday through Friday here on Money for Lunch and check out our website at moneyforlunch.com.